Coming up, it's the Spring Gala, and the railway anxiously awaits the arrival of its star guest, one of Britain's most famous locomotives, Tornado.
The group of enthusiasts that get together and build that is just amazing.
And in the carriage and wagon sheds, the finishing touches are added to the railway's new pride and joy. The Great Central Railway is a preserved heritage railway with an 8-mile line between Loughborough and Leicester, passing the stations of Quorn and Rothley along the way. About 40 staff and 700 volunteers work on restoring and maintaining old engines, as well as helping to run the railway for weekend events and passenger services. Today, the little station of Quorn in rural Leicestershire has an expectant air. There are 2 engine arrivals due. They're both coming by road because the Heritage Railway isn't connected to the mainline track. First to arrive is a Class N2 tank engine. The N2 was designed in the 1920s for suburban passenger carrying. But it's the arrival of one of the most famous locomotives in Britain that's causing a buzz. Tornado was built from scratch, completed just 2 years ago. Peter Neeson is waiting for her arrival. He was one of the engineers who worked on the build.
I started off on the builds a few years ago now, and basically gone along with it and travel around with it now, yes. It's somewhere going to be around about 12:30. It's coming. The tender came around about 10:30 this morning. I came up a bit of a different route, so they weren't blocking the motorways and everything, that's what I was saying. When we come off the network, which is like off the main line, we come on to preservation. We've got to basically split everything from the tender and the loco so they can carry them as 2 separate units. Electric connections, all the water connections, the air brakes, everything else that has to be disconnected. The drawbar has to be taken out that holds it all together. Basically, things like that.
The N2 tank engine weighs in at 70 tonnes and has to be carefully manoeuvred off the low loader and onto the tracks. At last, Tornado arrives, complete with her own escort. She's the first mainline steam engine to be built since 1960. After a lot of research and fundraising, work began on the build in 1991, and in August 2008, she steamed for the very first time.
Can we just put the blocks back in?
You can do what you want, yeah.
Just putting some blocks just in between the axles, just to relieve the springs a bit when it comes off. Because all the wheels move up and down. And it's just so the springs don't get the full tension.
Tornado will be the star of the Spring Gala in a couple of weeks' time. But some enthusiasts can't wait for the gala to see her, so they've come down to the station today.
The group of enthusiasts that get together and build that is just amazing. What dedication. I'm just astounded by it.
Tornado is a Peppercorn Class A1 steam loco. They were designed by Arthur Peppercorn, who was the last chief mechanical engineer of the London and North Eastern Railway. They were the last in a line of famous express passenger steam locos that worked on the East Coast Main Line. Tornado has a special link with the Heritage Railway because she was tested and run in here back in 2008. And then, in February 2009, at York Railway Station, Their Royal Highnesses the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall officially named her. To build a steam engine from scratch in the 21st century was a hugely ambitious project that required some serious funding.
There's a plaque on the front that tells it all. basically by people donating money to it. It was £3 million. We had to raise £3 million off donations. Not big money in the sense of from big organisations and everything else. We had big sponsors, so a lot of people helped us out with different things, but it was actually the people's determination to see one, because they were all scrapped in 1966. You couldn't, resurrect it from a scrapyard or anything. We had to build it from scratch. 95% of it was built in this country. Hopefully we'll be able to carry on and someday do something else. It's people's passion for things.
Tornado weighs almost 107 tonnes, and the team ease the locomotive off the low loader onto a set of rails. President of the Great Central Railway, Bill Ford, has arrived to see Tornado safely installed.
You look at it now and you see all the technology at the front end. There's something like £200,000 of technology into the truck and the wheels that carry it. And when it gets here, if you just see what's happening, we get wooden planks and tapered rails to offload it very gently. So it's a combination of the high technology and the old style, almost back to the 19th century. But it's fascinating to watch and to see.
Transporting Tornado here is no mean feat, and it's certainly not cheap. But the railway are hoping that their star guest will pull in the crowds at the next gala in 2 weeks' time.
It's about £3,500 each way, so it's an expensive operation. But then it's so unique that people love it and people flock to see it.
Nice to see you back on the rails. It's a bit nerve-wracking.
Under several pairs of watchful eyes, Tornado is safely dispatched from the low loader.
We've just got to put the tender and the engine together now, and then we go down to Loughborough, and then basically put water in and fire in her, and she's off, which is better than being on the road.
A few miles down the line at Rothley, the sheds are busy with restoration projects. Rothley is the base for the carriage and wagon department, and one of their current projects, close to completion, are 2 Pullman coaches. Martin Clark worked on the interior details of the carriage.
I've done some of the mechanical work underneath, along with others, and then the interior is almost entirely done by me. And this is the end result. The wood panel is mahogany veneered plywood, and the vehicle's been totally rewired before the panelling's fitted. I've been working on this one now approximately 4 months. So it's come along very rapid with minimal amount of staff.
Meanwhile, underneath, Martin Wilkinson is painting the undercarriage.
I have to confess, these are Mark I coaches, they're not Pullman coaches, but the word Pullman is basically used to imply superior quality, whereas these are just being made smart, and certainly smarter than anything else we have on the railway, and as such we're marketing it as a upper market train. No doubt get lambasted for what we've done to this coach, because the interior of this coach is nothing like traditional. The exterior is anything but prototypical. It's mock Pullman colours. And so no doubt there will be criticism as to what we've done to an otherwise perfectly good Mark I coach. The only thing I would say is that the condition this was in 12 months ago, it was only fit for the scrapyard, so it saved another Mark I coach. Equally, this is being done almost exclusively to try and raise money for the Great Central Railway, which will enable us to do more prototypical restorations. And the majority of people who have seen it have fine, yeah, looks good, no problem. But as I say, you will have people who say, well, Pullman, Mark I should never be in Pullman colours. Well, fair enough.
Coming up, Gala Day arrives. The timetable's causing a headache.
If we get a bigger margin than we thought we were going to have, we can change things and make things easier for ourselves.
We can't just let everything slip.
And will Tornado pull in the crowds? At Loughborough Station, it's the day of a 1960s themed spring gala. The volunteers are out in force, and queues of enthusiasts are looking forward to a spectacle of steam and diesel.
Good morning. Hello, hello. Thank you very much.
With 8 locomotives running and a crowd to entertain, this is an important income-generating event. The Heritage Railway costs over £1.5 million a year to run, even though a lot of work is undertaken by volunteers. Early starts are often part of the routine.
I've been here since about 7 this morning. I'm going to be here until probably about 8:30 tonight. That's not as long as some people.
I've been out on 2 trips on the Standard 4. I've been here since 5:15 this morning.
Today's big attraction is Tornado, the A1 peppercorn, built at a cost of £3 million, and the first of its kind to be built since the early 1950s. It's a proud moment for engineer Peter Neeson. The last time Tornado was here was for a test run 18 months ago.
It doesn't seem like we've been away. It just, the 18 months we did before is now just come back like it's like yesterday, if you understand what I mean. Yeah, it's been cracking. We've had some good time, met a lot of old friends and everything else. Yeah, been very good time. She's looking good and she's basically performing well. You know, the people do, it's a gala and there's a lot of nice, very good engines out there and everything else. It does bring the crowds in. The popularity of it has increased that, so hopefully we will. And more people will come and see us. The more we do for this, the more we do for the railway.
In charge of the gala today is volunteer Bob Smith.
Right, what we're doing now, loco for the next passengers just at the totem pole. He'll just drop on. He'll be away, and then as soon as he's gone at 10:30, we can get Tornado on the front of the stop for the 10:50, get that in the platform.
It'll be back in town for our lunch dinner, won't it? Oh, 1:15, yeah.
The 10:30 leaves on time. Alan Pakes designed the schedule and timetable for today's gala, but it's not just the logistics he takes care of.
As usual on these events, I'm also looking after the locomotive water supply. Our regular water supply doesn't carry enough for a gala event. We use treated water, treated by a process called reverse osmosis. Because of the cost of the plant we need for it, the setup we use only provides enough water for our normal 2-train service. So you go to 5 engines in steam, we run out of water, which means we have to use the town supply, which means there's no ball cock, which means the tower doesn't shut off, so I have to keep running up and down and turning it on and off as I need it.
While Tornado is ready to be coupled up to the passenger carriages, the newly restored tank engine, the Ginty, steams in with her mineral wagons. She spent 15 years in the engine sheds here, being restored back to life after being rescued from a scrapyard. Ernie Spencer is one of the men who rebuilt her.
It was basically a boiler on wheels. There was absolutely nothing to it. It's a boiler shell, cab, tanks with holes in it, the bunker was completely rotten, and 6 wheels underneath it, nothing else. So all the parts were acquired over a period of time that we could acquire, like the proper railway fittings and things of that nature. And then what we didn't have, we had to either make or repair. And I think we started off, first of all, we took the tanks off, repaired those, the cab was next. We built a whole brand spanking new bunker, because the other one was completely rotten. And then we started on the motion and the frames. Wheels came out, they went away for turning, and then all the bits and pieces that you see inside of it, they were all hand fettled, if you like, back into working order, put back together again, and after 15 years we finally got a nice working little locomotive. So, and it's great to see it going up and down the line now on a reliable basis. The lads have painted it up and made a lovely job of the paintwork. In fact, I think it's going up to York very shortly. I think the rumour is that it might well be going up to York.
All seems to be running smoothly, but in the waiting room, which is temporarily being used as the control room, there are pressures on the timetable after a delay with one of the engines. There's been a problem with one of the loco's braking system.
Hello, Mike. See how it cooks up.
He's actually got 17 minutes to run round at Leicester, so hopefully he should pick some time up there. Okay, but is the vacuum bag going to cause problems again?
So I'll get the fitters.
We've had a problem with the vacuum pipe on the loco, which has had to be adjusted so they could actually couple the loco to the stop properly and get the brakes through. What we're trying to do now is, that's put us 15 minutes late on the day. We're now trying to just work out where everything is. Because if we're only holding, if he's only 6 down, 8, that's all right. They'll pick that.
He's passing one box now.
That's fine.
He's making time.
Yeah. The biggest problem is you never know what's going to. It can just be something little, like we've just had now, that just puts enough time in, because they had to go underneath with 2 adjustable spanners and move the brake pipe around about 30 degrees and then adjust it back up again. And that's all it needs. And you've lost 10 minutes. Because if you're not careful, it then becomes another 10 minutes, another 10 minutes. 10 minutes late in the morning, 20 minutes late at lunch, 30 minutes late by the evening.
Although we have a shunting plan, it's only a scheme, not a Bible. And if we can change things, if we get a bigger margin than we thought we were going to have, we can change things and make things easier for ourselves. So we've got an idea of what's where on the railway.
But we can't just let everything slip.
The way it's looking, we may pull this one back.
Yeah.
But as they say, come back in 20 minutes and we'll see how we're doing.
Yeah.
The trains are still moving. As well as steam engines like Tornado running today, there's a diesel at the gala too. Regular volunteers Pete and Martin are driving it today.
We did the first, I think it was the first trip of the day, wasn't it?
9 o'clock, yes, that's right.
The 9 o'clock down to Leicester North and return. Then we had a bit of a break. And this is our second trip of the day down to...
Yes, full trips today.
To Rockland.
And we're just like, on this sort of gala, we're just like a people mover.
Which is like a shuttle, really.
We're a shuttle, really, yeah. Just getting people here, there, everywhere, so they can get the best of everything.
Martin and Pete have scrubbed up well for the event.
It's very civilised.
Gala, you see. Gala.
Well, we dress like this for the engines as well at times, but not all the time. It's not always that easy, you see, because you don't want to upstage the driver. I'm only a fireman, so if I turn up like this and the driver's there in a t-shirt, it could be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it's not the right impression.
You see.
Normally, Pete's a fireman on the steam engines, but today he's a driver on the DMU, the Diesel Multiple Unit.
We're obviously not just running with steam, we're running with this because this is in period. So we're recreating the 60s, if you like.
One of the benefits of riding on or driving the DMU is that you get a great view from the large front windows.
Just put it straight to fourth.
Yes, she's going to run all the way now.
Yeah.
There we are. Arrived again.
Back on the platforms at Loughborough Station, the volunteers are kept busy running the gala, and there's one engine everyone is talking about.
We came up here because we knew that Tornado was going to be back on main line here, and so we thought we'd come up. We saw it first of all in its undercoat format, which was grey, and now of course it's got its top coat on and it's on main line running, so we thought we'd come up here today and have a look for ourselves. And so once that draws out of the station with its row of coaches, hopefully we'll be on it.
Well, Tornado's the big attraction. I think people just like to... I've noticed so far, wherever Tornado is, there's a vast crowd. It appears to be on the train, though.
That would be Tornado.
Is that Tornado? You see there's a vast crowd behind it.
Yeah.
Alan is still busy ensuring the carriages have enough water. They need topping up during the day. Meanwhile, duty traffic manager Bob has made up the time in the schedule that was lost earlier, and he's confident that the 2:10 will leave on time.
We've managed to get it back, thanks. sort of the odd 5 minutes here or there, which were shunting allowances, that we've managed to just claw it back from. What we're waiting for now is, in fact, that's the TPO just coming in the loop now, or at least just on from call. That's going to give us the loco for the 210. It's also going to give us the loco for the freight.
As she pulls away from the platform, all eyes are on Tornado, a real symbol of British engineering and the passion of a group of people who are determined to build a steam engine from scratch. Next time on Central Steam. In the sheds at Rothley Station, work is underway on vintage carriages. A former volunteer remembers the early days of the Heritage Railway.
It was photogenic, with things moving and puffing about.
And it's an early start for the footplate crew as they take the 8F full steam ahead.
2 minutes to get to Leicester.